Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we got something interesting. Was what appeared to be the final cutscene for Warzone. Warzone 1 is coming to an end. We've seen it through Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard, and all of these games have kind of compiled together a big overarching story for Warzone. And one thing that I will be doing on this channel is the full story, the entire story of Warzone and how that all pieces together. And if you want to see that, the best way to show me is hitting the like button on this video. If this video gets, let's say, we'll go easy, 5,000 likes, then I will upload that next video. However, what we're doing in this video is a little bit more complicated. What I'm going to be attempting to do is connecting every single Call of Duty game that has ever been released to the Warzone storyline in one way or another, whether that be through characters, story, or anything in between. That is what we are going to be doing. It's going to be quite the task, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. What I will tell you right now is there are only 2 Call of Duty titles that have ever come out that I could not find a way that they were linked to Warzone in one way or another. So let me know down in the comments, try to guess right now what those 2 Call of Duty games are. And if I missed something, maybe I missed some sort of connection, you can let me know what that is later on in the video as well. But before we dive into all the connections, all of the story for Warzone, let me first tell you about today's video sponsor. So if you're a fan of the channel, you're probably a fan of shooter games. And that is why today's video is sponsored by Enlisted, a free-to-play multiplayer shooter that is available on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PS4 and Xbox One as well. This game is cool because it is free to play. You can download it for free right now simply by clicking the link down in the description. And let me tell you, there's some pretty cool things about it. Obviously, if you're a fan of the channel, you'll know that I like story, and World War II has plenty of that. And one of my favorite things about this game is the historical campaigns such as Battle of Moscow or the Invasion of Normandy. You can play all of these through the game, and each of these campaigns includes their unique individual maps, troop types, weapons, and vehicles that players can play and unlock. The game also features hundreds of firearms and specialized weapons, from common weapons seen throughout the war to various different types of prototype weapons and cool things like that. One of my favorite things to do is just run a sniper rifle with no scope on it. It feels really good picking off people like that. Another cool thing, the kind of MMO part of the game, is each soldier is an individual with his own name, skills, and inventory. You can change their weapons or equipment or unique skills, and it'll really change up the way you actually play the game. Now, the best part is you can play this for 100% free right now. All you got to do is click the link down in the description, and you can download it on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. And on top of that, by using my link down below, you will also get 3 free days of premium time and several orders of troops and weapons as well. So check out that link down in the description, and thank you Enlisted for sponsoring the video. Warzone was introduced during Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, and as far as this goes, Captain Price was essentially the main character and leader of Task Force 141, alongside other characters like Ghost, Gaz, Farah, and characters like that. So one thing we can do right away is eliminate Modern Warfare 2019. Now, one thing that you can definitely say about Modern Warfare 2019 is it's a reimagining of the original Modern Warfare trilogy. So Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 3. Yes, the stories are not connected and there's different stories, but a lot of the same characters return, and I expect to see more return within Modern Warfare 2. So yes, the stories aren't necessarily interconnected, but the characters 100% crossover. So are they connected? Technically, no. The story doesn't get pulled from the original Modern Warfare trilogy into Warzone. However, the characters are definitely there, and that's the way that this game's connected to the original Modern Warfare trilogy. Now, here's one that's a little bit more complex. As we know, Captain Price is essentially the main character of the original Verdansk version of Warzone. He was the leader of Task Force 141. He is the one who put an end to the Zakhaevs at the end of the story of Verdansk, so on and so forth. Now, here's what you may not know. In Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2, which take place during World War II, Captain Price was a character in both of these games. Now, it gets a little bit more confusing because Call of Duty 1 actually takes place after Call of Duty 2, and where Captain Price is a character in both of these games, during Call of Duty 1, Captain Price actually dies.
We lost the captain. Damn, he's a very fine man. Let's get the hell out of here.
Now, we have talked about this in a previous video. The Price family tree. Is Captain Price a time traveler? Well, we actually kind of have an answer to this. As it turns out, Barry Sloan, who plays Captain Price in the new Modern Warfare universe, tweeted earlier this year with a picture of Captain Price, the original from the original Call of Duty, saying Granddaddy Price, which tells us that these games are connected via the Price family tree. So essentially, that's how Call of Duty 1 and 2 are connected to the Warzone story. But as we know, the story of Verdansk didn't end in the year 2020. It kept moving forward, or I guess you could say backwards. But there is one important line at the very launch of Warzone that I want you to pay close attention to.
East and West rebuilt Verdansk after the Cold War.
Now, of course, what this is referring to is Black Ops Cold War. By the time we are introduced to Verdansk 84, we then find out by the end of the story that essentially Adler blows up Verdansk, and in doing so causes massive damage, and then as Nikolai says, the East and West were forced to rebuild Verdansk after the Cold War. That is how the two different Verdansks tie in together, and of course, that is the connection between Black Ops Cold War and Warzone. Well, guess what? Adler wasn't the only character in Black Ops Cold War. There was also characters like Alex Mason, Frank Woods, Jason Hudson, all characters who were in Black Ops 1. Now, Black Ops Cold War takes place in the early 80s, whereas Black Ops 1 takes place in the 60s, kind of moving in towards the 70s. So the story from Black Ops 1 actually takes place before the events of Verdansk 84, but all the characters are, of course, in both, and that is how Black Ops 1 is tied together with Warzone, through the characters Frank Woods, Alex Mason, and then eventually working with Adler. Now, in Black Ops 1, there is a main character in the game by the name of Viktor Reznov, a character who is alive at the beginning, who you meet in Vorkuta prison, and later you find out has passed away and is kind of living in Alex Mason's head. However, this is not the first time we saw Viktor Reznov. We were actually introduced to him in the game Call of Duty World at War.
Sniping your enemy is like hunting any other animal. Fire at the wrong moment and your chance will be forever lost.
So yeah, Viktor Reznov is a main part in Call of Duty World at War in Black Ops 1, and therefore that is the connection between Call of Duty World at War and Warzone. So then we move into Black Ops 2. Now, the obvious connection between Black Ops 2 is that some of the main characters include Alex Mason and Frank Woods. Now, their storyline in Black Ops 2 takes place in the late 80s, which means it takes place after the events of Verdansk 84. Now, the interesting part is there's also another storyline in Black Ops 2 which takes place in the future in the year 2025. That has not yet happened, and we are moving closer and closer to there. So when that eventually happens and that timeline happens in Warzone, I'm curious if that Black Ops 2 storyline actually comes a little bit more into place. But as for now, the obvious connection to Black Ops 2 is Alex Mason and Frank Woods, and that is how it is tied together with Warzone, and specifically Verdansk 84. Now, at the end of Verdansk 84, we find out our characters, Alex Mason, Frank Woods, Hudson, Adler, go into a tunnel and end up finding the character Captain Butcher, who explains the events of the Caldera and then ties that into Warzone and Verdansk 84. And of course, this is how the connection between Call of Duty Vanguard and Warzone, therefore Modern Warfare, and Black Ops Cold War all take place, and how they are all tied together via Captain Butcher and the story he is telling about the Caldera. Here's the thing you may not know though. Captain Butcher actually wasn't introduced in Call of Duty Vanguard. He was originally in Sledgehammer's game Call of Duty World War II as the quartermaster. You could see him there, you could get contracts, everything like that. So therefore, Call of Duty World War II is also tied into Call of Duty Vanguard, which is weird because they have different World War II stories. But nonetheless, that is how World War II ties into Warzone. Then the next one makes literally zero sense, but as far as it goes, in the Final Stand cinematic for Warzone, we are introduced to some evil characters, which include Khalid al-Assad, Raul Menendez, but also another character who is introduced is Seraph. Seraph was a main character in Black Ops 3's multiplayer, and on top of that, Black Ops 4 as well. It doesn't really make any sense because Black Ops 3 takes place in the year 2065, but hey, that's what they're doing. So the connection between Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 is there, but on top of that, the characters Frank Woods and and Alex Mason are also in Black Ops 4 as well, tying all of these games together with a nice bow. The timeline makes no sense, and we'll have to dive into that in a future video. But as far as this goes, that is how Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 tie into Warzone. Now, another character that we have in that Final Stand trailer is none other than Gabriel Rourke, who is actually the main villain within Call of Duty Ghost. Now, an interesting thing about this is, as far as Call of Duty Ghost goes, it takes place in the year 2023, when basically some big bombs come down, blow up a big portion of the earth, and then you have to fight against Rourke. And it's interesting because that is next year, and the Modern Warfare universe takes place in real time. So the events of Call of Duty Ghost very well could happen within Warzone 2 if they stick with the same timeline, and we do know that the games are connected. So that is the connection between Call of Duty Ghost and Warzone. Now, the last one that we have here is a little bit of a stretch. As we know, the main villain within Modern Warfare 2019 is known as Roman Barkov, and you end up taking him out by the end of the game. And in Infinite Warfare, there is a character who you can take out by the name of Radislav Barkov. Same last name, spelt the same way as Roman Barkov. Yeah, it is a little bit of a stretch. It's not the same character, but keep in mind, Infinite Warfare takes place in like 2187, which is super far in the future. So if there is a connection, it would have to be a family lineage connection, which this is the only one that I could make. So that's how we can connect Infinite Warfare to Warzone. So that is it. That is how all of the games are connected. The two that I could not connect are Call of Duty 3 and Advanced Warfare. I just couldn't find any connection in there. I may have missed something, and if I did, feel free to let me know down in the comments. I mean, you could argue that Call of Duty 3 is a World War II game, so that could be somehow connected in that way. But other than this, we can't really connect these two games, and that is how the rest of the games are connected, which is crazy because that means almost every Call of Duty game to be released is connected via Warzone, which in my mind is pretty cool. And if they tie in Call of Duty Ghosts and maybe even Black Ops 2's story to the future of Warzone, I think that would be really cool. But that is how they are all connected. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you want to see the full story of Warzone, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to stay up to date on everything Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and let me know what you think down in the comments. And finally, be sure to check out Enlisted. It is absolutely free to play. First link down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching the video. And until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but